Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of The World Today, and today's episode is a very special episode as Egypt today marks the 3rd anniversary of the revolution, which saw millions of Egyptians take to the streets to oust Brotherhood President Mohamed Morsi. The Egyptian army began celebrating Thursday morning the occasion with air and naval shows. Air shows took place in the Greater Cairo area, where naval shows will be held on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea in the port city of Alexandria. The Army's marching band celebrate the occasion by playing national songs in major squares across the country, and souvenirs and flags will be handed out to celebrating crowds. All museums will admit local and foreigners free of charge for this very special day that the entire people and all Cairo and Egypt, the entire country celebrates. Thursday has been declared a national holiday, with public and private sector employees and banks given the day off. On 30th June 2013, millions of citizens took to the streets to protest the rule of Morsi, whose rule had been deeply divisive. And on this very special occasion, we have with us in the studio Mr. Mahmoud Sabit, a political analyst. A very good afternoon, sir. And on this very special occasion, we have the pleasure to have you with us, and we're very happy to have you with us. Egypt today celebrates a very special day. How do you read this day, sir, before we move on with the newspapers?
Well, I think
after 3 years of this, this took place.
Well, I think that when they took when this happened, June 30th, that was here, 2013. I remember that many people I knew had lost hope. So, if you like, they brought hope back to the future of this country. Yeah. And I think that's the best I can say, really, because, I mean, it's not an easy thing. Egypt had been through a great deal. I'm not just talking from 2011. 2011, after all, happened as a result of other socioeconomic reasons and socioeconomic problems. They were compounded by all of what happened since from 2011 to 2013. So it was not an easy situation anyway. And it had to change, obviously, and it did change. So, yes, for me, it's like the renewal of hope for this country.
Okay, sir. And we start off with the headline from our newspaper, and we will read the headlines marking the newspaper with the occasion. And we start off with Al-Ahram Online, which reads, Egypt's army celebrates 30th June anniversary with air naval shows. The day has been declared a national holiday, as I further said, with public and private sector employees and banks giving the day off. And the Egypt Independent reads, 30th June made public holiday to commemorate revolution, museums open free of charge. Sir, how do you read the idea that on this very special day, the 30th of June revolution, the museums are free of charge for the public and for the foreigners as well?
Well, I think it's good. I think more Egyptians should be visiting their own museums. There's a lot to see, and it's not that expensive for Egyptians to go to museums, I should add, but it is to many people. It can be. But yeah, it is important. It's part of. I don't think enough is done in that direction myself. More museums should be visited by more people.
So do you think that on the Egyptians or the people that are not capable of going to museums on normal day would take advantage of such an opportunity or of such an offer and go and celebrate in museums and know more about Egypt and their country and the country they live in?
I would hope so. I've seen this. I've seen this already. I mean, in certain areas which have been for example, some of the older mosques which have undergone reparations and restoration, I've noticed that there have been Egyptians who've gone to them to basically see the restoration, and they are historic monuments, very important ones, some of them. So yes, it is a trend, I hope, that will continue.
Sir, on this very special occasion, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi addressed the nation on Thursday, marking the 3rd anniversary of the June 30th revolution. In his televised speech, the president said that in the 30th of June revolution, the Egyptians restored their identity and corrected the path He noted that the Egyptian people proved that their will actually cannot be broken. They reaffirmed their ability to overcome all the challenges, difficulties facing them. The president also asserted that it was the unity of the Egyptian people that enabled them to face the challenges. President Sisi said that the 30th of June revolution showed that no party can enforce its will on the Egyptian people. He noted that the will of the Egyptian people is the real momentum in pushing the country forward. Sisi warned that the challenges facing the country are huge, adding that he was keen to deal with all the challenges facing all the sectors of the society and to achieve the aspirations of the Egyptian people. The president also went on to say that he had to hail all the martyrs who sacrificed their lives while protecting the country and promised to always look after their families. Sir, how did you read President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's speech this morning, which is the focus of today's celebrations, of course, because it's the president of Egypt and he gave the speech.
No, I think good. He gave this. I think it's important to also not forget what it means, what he's emphasizing, the issue of nationalism, the issue of knowing that they're Egyptians, because we should not forget that the prior regime of Morsi was attempting to create of Egypt as a part and parcel of a supranational entity, which was based on the political party. And I think we should not lose sight of what he's really meaning. I mean,
exactly.
it's self-evident to many of us.
This is my main point and what I'm pointing to, and what I'm trying to ask you for more details. What is the point that he is trying to state?
Well, I think that is the point. It's the fact that it's stating that Egypt is not part of a supranational entity. The former government attempted to create that, and also attempted to create of this country an entity of their own image based on a political party, which it isn't. And I think they basically forgot a few main elements on Egypt. But I think this is the main theme of how I would respond to his speech, is that we should not really forget what he means when he says this.
Sir, how do you define the will of the Egyptian people on this very special day, the 30th of June revolution?
I think that their will was to basically no longer pursue the kind of government they had. Most importantly, the kind of incompetence and ineptness of the government that they had, because it was becoming very clear to everyone that they were really not capable of governing a country. And of course, with all the concomitant problems that was creating, especially in the economy. I mean, we were seeing the most appalling situation at that time, and it needed rectification as quickly as possible. We were about, I might add, to slip into almost a civil war over this. So yes, the will of the Egyptian people was the end of the Morsi government, and basically someone to save it. And the army was the best contender to do so. And they were asked deliberately, specifically, and for quite a while before the army stepped in.
Sir, a very important question. I just want to, because I'm sure many of the Egyptian people ask this question always. The ex-president Morsi, actually the ousted president Mohamed Morsi, stepped down on the 3rd of July. Why do we celebrate this revolution on June the 30th, not on the 3rd of July?
Well, June the 30th is when basically they were. It's the end of this government, as far as I'm concerned. There may be other reasons, but it's the end of the authority.
When the people took to the streets.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, it's
when over 33 million people took to the streets.
We have to not forget something, that authority is based on a contract between the governor and the governed. And the governed accept to take their order. In this case, the governed refused. So it's the end of the authority of Morsi.
So from your own perspective, sir, you see that we are supposed to be celebrating on the 30th of June,
yes,
not on the 3rd of July, and more appropriate from your point of view. Sir, of course, you see nowadays, after 3 years from this, a very special occasion when all the Egyptians stood with their pride and with their will and really achieved all their aspirations and their dreams. You see loads and loads of challenges facing this country. and there is a great war against this country. Terrorism, military, there's every type of possible war against Egypt. How do you see this after 3 years?
Well, I think what really happened in many respects, among other things, there were many things that happened on the 29th, but what it ushered in is an era of having an independent policy, a policy not necessarily aligned too closely with anyone else in particular. And I think that's really one of the important aspects of this, is that it's also the launching of a position for Egypt that is separate in a way. The biggest challenge, it's not an easy challenge, because it's not just the chaos that had been created by the government, but it's also the socio-economic problems that had existed that had provoked the 2011 uprising anyway. They were still in place. So this is a double challenge. It's not an easy challenge to address, but it's fundamentally it's an economic challenge. And of course it's a security challenge as well. But economically I feel it's the biggest battle. And anything the economic battle will mean a lot of the other elements will fall into place. But yes, Egypt is under challenge. It's under challenge based on extremist organizations. It's under challenge for other nations who really are not really all that thrilled to have Egypt in a prominent place.
Why aren't they thrilled, sir, to have Egypt in a prominent place? Why are they doing their best to make this country fall down, like Libya, for instance, like Yemen, like Syria? Why is this their target?
Because Egypt fundamentally is the prize. And that's the point. Egypt is the elephant of the region. It's the one no one talks about as being the elephant, but it's still the elephant of the region. I mean, there's no question about that. Egypt is half the region. Okay? In terms of every indice that you can think of, not least of which is population.
So then the people of Egypt in this very special day, which is the 30th of June revolution, 3 years ago, show the entire world that if we decide to do something as Egyptians, then we'll be doing it. So please stay away. This country is not your zone. Well, didn't this message reach everyone?
No, because we have to understand something very important here, the perceptions. The perceptions have to be shaped for something like this, for a comprehension of something like this. For one thing, our own leadership before 2011 underestimated this country and its role. And Egypt has been punching way below its weight for a very long time. And people around us have gotten used to that idea.
Until when are we going to be punching below our weight? Which is a very tempting issue that really bothers many of the Egyptians, and bothers when we're sitting socially discussing anything that's political or economic. We really get pissed off about the idea, why are we not weak? Why are we acting as if we're weak?
Well, that's the point. It's a perception issue. I mean, we have to change that perception. We have to understand what Egypt really is. We can only do that by having a historical understanding of Egypt, having an understanding of what role it's played in the past, a fundamental understanding of that. So yes, there's a lot of things that make that happen, and for that reason to be, not least of which is, of course, education. We have to really upgrade the education, because ultimately what makes a country the way it is its economy. When you have a very strong economy, you can have a policy. With a weak economy, you can't really have a policy. You have to respond to the policies of others. That's the point.
For example, sir, when the United Kingdom suddenly decides that the people of the UK are not going to be coming to Sharm el-Sheikh until 2017, and this is the decision that they took, or they gave orders, or they gave advices to their people not to be going to Sharm el-Sheikh. What is the Egyptian reaction supposed to be towards such a very undefined, actually, decision?
Well, it's a perception thing. Its response should be by giving better information and by basically presenting a better case. Because what we're really dealing with here is arguments and counter-arguments on an international level.
Do you mean that we should be explaining our case, or do you mean that we should be acting the same way?
No, I think responding by punitive ways means nothing, okay? Because ultimately we're talking about an economy. We're talking about enhancing the economy. What's happening here when that happens is someone else is seizing the perception of what this country is and suggesting that this country is unsafe for tourism. Frankly, we never suggested that Britain was unsafe for tourism despite the many, many IRA outrages that were committed there. I mean, I was in England when Harrods was almost blown up. I was there half an hour before the bomb went up. Nobody really said, oh no, England, we shouldn't go there now because of all Irish terrorism. No one ever said that. So it's a perception thing.
It's the case, sir, with the Egyptian plane and the Russian plane. When you come to look at the actions in both, there are double standards.
Well, we are allowing others to write the agenda. We should be writing the agenda and presenting it to them.
Exactly. How are we going to be doing this?
We do that through media. We do that. It's an international argument. The argument is on an international basis. You have to have a better argument than they do. And you have to be able to present it quickly.
As quickly as possible. And we have to react we have to be decision makers and decide quickly what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, not only that, we should have a special press up ready to go for this instance or that instance, and just take it off the shelf and say, this is what we do. That's what they do.
Sir, unfortunately time is gone and time flies, unfortunately. On this very special occasion, could you quickly tell me, how do you feel as an Egyptian today?
Oh, I think, I mean, I'm optimistic, let me put it that way.
You are optimistic? You're really optimistic?
I was optimistic. I personally had lost whatever hope on the future of this country before June 30th. With June 30th, my hope was renewed, and that hasn't really gone away. So I'm optimistic that we have hope. And in general, I'm optimistic anyway. So I'm optimistic about this country, if that's the case.
And so you're happy about the 30th of June revolution that took place 2 years ago, and today you're still optimistic that Egypt is going to be on the right track soon again, economically, politically, and culturally.
Yes.
Sir Dr. Mr. Mahmoud Sabit, a political analyst, I thank you so much for joining us in today's episode of The World Today. And today, of course, is a very special episode that marks the third anniversary of the June 30th revolution. Dear viewers, we hope all of Egyptians all around Egypt a very happy occasion today, spending a lovely holiday all over the country and taking opportunity of all the offers that are taking place all around the country. And from all the team here in Nile TV, we wish you a lovely day and a very happy celebration. I'm Rana Al-Qassas, and until we meet again tomorrow in another episode of The World Today, from all the team here, it's goodbye and happy 30th of June revolution.